It's because somebody cares about them. Help them remember to tell that person thank you. Lord, we just thank you for all the blessings that you give us every day. You watch over us, you take care of us. Later on today and tomorrow, we're going to start heading back down the road, going back home. We ask that you would take us all back home safely so that one day we'll get back together like this and we'll have us some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen, Ricky. Amen. And now we ask you with those caps off to cross your hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, everybody. We are just about ready to set it off now here in St. Clairsville, Ohio for the 2026 Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. Woo, nothing like a prayer there from Ricky Towery and the national anthem from Leanne Grimes to get you fired up and ready to go racing. I want to welcome everybody watching at home from RacerTV.com. Thanks for joining us here for our youth ATV race this morning. We're just about ready to get them rolling. The maestro, Ricky Towery, makes his way into turn number 1. And keep your eyes on Ricky. We will go as Ricky goes here today. When Ricky waves that blue flag, that is going to be when our riders need to shut those machines down. When we see Ricky's left arm go out, that is going to signify 10 seconds until we are off and rolling. All right, everybody, Ricky lets our riders know 5 minutes. 5 minutes until we are ready to go at Kenda Powerline Park GNCC Racing. In the meantime, DJ Judd gonna keep us warmed up with some tunes. we go, Ricky Towery says, here we go. And he's gonna slide down through the line. He makes sure our riders are ready to roll here in row number 1. Ricky takes a look down at the watch. A deep breath. And there it is, the blue flag waves, blue flag waves, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about ready to roll in 10 seconds for row number 1, your YXC1 Super Mini Senior. And the green flag flies. Who's it gonna be headed into turn number 1? It looks like the 527, the Ohio native of Jacob Smallwood. Gonna grab the whole shot and the early lead. Here we go, row number 2. In 10 seconds for our YXC2 Super Mini Junior. Clayton Sampson, Torque Tong, JP Pickens Jr., Ryder Tenney, Leo Craig, Tanner Barrett, Jay Strauss, Stratton Weddle, Bo Hamrick, Colton Gardner, Bryson Stringfellow, Brooks Hill, and a battle going into that one. One of the 500 numbers getting the job done. Here we go, blue flag waves for our next row, our 250 class, ready to roll in 10 seconds for Colton Yankovic, Colton Shelby, Brantley Thompson, Bryson Ware, Logan Freeland, Owen Sabata, Aiden Cord, Braxton Hesler, John Hart, Brady Revel, Emmerich Borick, Maverick Pennell, Blake Copperone, Grayson Turner, Brody Huck, Gunnar Claypole, Quinn Thomas, Reese Hoover, and Aiden Montgomery in this one. Blue flag waves for our next row. Shut them down. And ready to roll in. One rider having some trouble, and there he goes, and we're ready to roll in 10 seconds for our 250 limited division. Hayden Benniger, Brantley Slack, Jack Jacobs, Matthew Rischel, Landon Pennington, Brayson Havens, Avery Smith, Case Conkle, Carson Slews, Jace Noble, Braden Peters, Logan Willamette, Braxton Best, Mason Lezard, Cole Marley, Alec Miller, Arbrella Boylan, and Briley Nickel. Here we go, blue flag waves for our next row. Schoolgirl class, ready to roll in 10 seconds. Kimber Lowry, Taylon Davis, Addison Burnsworth, Chloe Oliver, Raylan Dickerson, Riley Dobbins, Hannah Caulfield, Brooklyn Kimball, Skyla Kimball, Caden Jackson, Tinley Hart, Lydia Arnold, Emma Edwards, and Bella Oldacker all in this one. One rider late to the line. Blue flag waves for our next row, and they're ready to roll in 10 seconds for your 90 division. Chad McCormick, Hunter Lizelle, Grayson Brand, Kason Jennings, Van Thomas, Lane Kennedy, and Trace Oliver. Let's see who's it gonna be into turn number 1. The blue machine looks to get the job done. And it is the 925 of Trace Oliver, the Indiana native, gets a whole shot in the early lead. Blue flag waves for our next row. They're ready to roll in. One rider having some trouble, gonna get him off of the starting line. Pull him to the side, pull him to the side. There we go, get that rider off to the side, and here we go, our next row, ready to roll in 10 seconds for our 125 8 to 12-year-old division. And the green flag flies, and they're off. Cruz Lebeco, Waylon Jennings, Colton Johnson, Riley Morrow, Talon Price, Grant Hash, Josie Dyke, Rhodey Dolan, Griffin Gettings, Easton Smith, Colson Conklin, Ellis Richards, Dominic McGee, and Nevin Natato. Here we go, next row, ready to roll in 10 seconds for our 125 limited class. And the green flag flies for Winston Weddle, Bam Margaria, Caden Davis, Wyatt Armin, Lane Hendershot, Emmerich McCauley, Gavin Claypool, Johnny Martin Jr., Briggs Poland, and Caden Muse. A lot of these guys in that micro race earlier. Who's it going to be? The 910 of Johnny Martin Jr., the Kentucky native, going to grab the whole shot in the early lead. Here we go, our next row, girls senior, blue flag wave, shut them down. And they're headed into turn number 1 in 10 seconds for Cadence Wiggins, Tori Barrett, Aubrey Nicholson, Raven Nickel, Emerson Swantack, and Moon Savage. Who's it going to be? A big drive from, let's see, what number was that? The 504 is exactly who that was. Aubrey Nicholson, the West Virginia native, gets the job done. Here we go, next row in 10 seconds. For our girls junior division, Carter Phillips, Bailey Wright, Audrey Petrilla, Molly Smith, Chloe Slews, Riley Gardner, Brenley Poland, Oakley, Hauser, Desi Barrett, and Kenley Bowman. Who's it gonna be? The 111 of Carter Phillips gets the job done. Here we go, next row, ready to roll in 10 seconds for our 76 to 11-year-old class. Holden Wolford, Colston Wilson, Gayan Rodriguez, Sage Shields, Leighton Leach, and Gavin Sowers. Who's it gonna be? He takes a look over and knows he has secured that whole shot. That is the 320 of Colston Wilson right here in his home state of Ohio. A couple riders still trying to get those machines fired up. Be careful on the starting line. And there we go, one rider headed into turn number 1. Be careful, everybody. And there we go, one more rider still on the line, trying to get that machine fired up. Hot track. And it looks like we should be good to go. So we're off and rolling here with our youth ATV race. We're gonna head over to the finish line and we'll pick up with the race call here in just a minute. Here we go, everybody. I made my way over here to the finish line where we are going to pick up with our race call. Had to knock off the cobwebs, my first 10-second calls of the weekend. But hey, we got through it. We got through it. Hope everybody's enjoying watching on Racer TV, and hope everybody is enjoying that is here on property with us in beautiful St. Clairsville, Ohio. As the locals like to call it, paradise on the hilltop. And we've got our own little slice of paradise here at the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. Waiting for the crew to make their way around on what will be their official first lap in the books. This is already round number 7 of this 2026 season, round number 7 of 13. Here for the year, man, it is absolutely flying by. Getting timing and scoring fired up as we wait for the crew to make their way around. Can hear them in the woods now, making their way through. We'll see if they're going to make their way through here on the finish line. Sometimes bypassing here at the finish line on the opening lap. We'll see what they're going to do here for our ATV youth riders. So they will, thanks guys, they will be bypassing here on this first lap around. So when they make their way through, it will mark the official first lap for them. And of course, not going to be able to get any lap times here off of this one as they bypass the finish line the first time through. So next time they come through, once they get 2 laps in the books, we can let you guys know exactly how long these laps should take for the rest of the race. Of course, this is approximately a 1-hour event here for our youth ATV riders. And since we've got some time to kill here, we are going to go and take a look at our 2026 season points so far. So far here for the 2026 season in our division, and Jackson Hancock, as he has took 5 out of 6 wins so far here in 2026, sitting with 118 versus Bodie Buchanan with 106 points. And then Jacob Smallwood with 105, so only 1 point separating our second and third place. And have about 12 points separating our second and first place of Hancock and Buchanan. So Jackson Hancock able to get the win, the first 4 wins of the season, a third place for him at round number 5, and then pick back up with another win there at round number 6. Bodie Buchanan, he was able to take the win there at round number 5, and that's what rockets him into that second place in points. However, Jacob Smallwood, your third place in the points, he has been off to a very consistent season. For the first 5 rounds, Smallwood found himself in the second place spot, but then an 11th place finish there, round number 6, is going to be what puts him back into that third place in points. Camden Phillips sits in 4th, and then Gavin Brand rounds out the top 5 in points so far. In our YXC2 Super Mini division, Brooks Hill able to get the first 3 wins of the season. A second place for him at round 4, an 8th place at round 5, and a 4th place at round 6 has him sitting with 109 points. 6 points ahead of Torque Tong. Torque sitting with 103 after going 3-2-3-1-5-9 on the season. So able to get a win there at round number 4 for Torque. And then Cody Buchanan, I should say, got sitting in that third place position in points. He was able to pick up the win at round 5 and then another win at round 6. So we'll see, can Cody Buchanan keep that win streak alive and make it 3 in a row? In our 250 class, consistency has been paying the bills here for Hayden Bender. Starts off the season with 2 second-place finishes, then 2 third-place finishes at round 3 and 4, a 5th place, 5, and 2nd place at round 6. Has him leading the way over Aiden Montgomery. Aiden sits 2nd, points, taking 5 out of the 6 wins so far in the season, but a DNF at round 2 is what put him into that 2nd place spot. Aiden going to be just 1 point ahead of our 3rd place of Braxton Hesler. So here we go, everybody. Our leaders now making their way to the finish line for what is going to be the official lap number 1. And it is still going to be your whole shot artist of Jacob Smallwood that is going to be leading the way. Bodie Buchanan going to be sitting in that 2nd place spot. So it was the 5, 2, 7, the 1, and the 6. So we did not pick up with our transponders the number 6 machine. Let's take a look here at who that should be. So that is Jackson Hancock, the Avon Park Florida native that we were just talking about, leading the way in the YXC1 Super Mini Senior points. And sitting 3rd right now with a little bit of transponder issues, it looks like. Nonetheless, Jackson Hancock is in the battle here in this one and holding on to that 3rd overall spot as well as 3rd in the YXC1. Taking a look here at a stacked 17-rider lineup here for our YXC1 Super Mini Senior. Bodie Buchanan, Jackson Hancock, Wyatt Dolan, Ethan Edgar, Evan Chastain, Levi Hollifield, Eli McCrary, Kelsey Stringfellow, Dawson Neal, Hunter Davis, Gavin Brand, Colin Lake, Fallon Holcomb, Jacob Smallwood, Camden Phillips, Jace Hart, and Reese Bonner. All going to be out here in our Super Mini Senior division. And that is quite the lineup. Some very familiar names here at GNCC. And the boys and girls are all checking in now. So it is Jacob Smallwood, Bodie Buchanan, and Jackson Hancock, your top 3. In 4th is Reese Bonner. 5th is Gavin Brand. 6th is going to belong to Eli McCrary, with 7th going to Colin Lay, and 8th being Jace Hart. Camden Phillips going to check in 9th, and then Wyatt Dolan checking in now to round out our top 10. Plenty more riders checking in now. Let's take a look at our lineup. Once again, it's Smallwood, Buchanan, and Hancock, your top 3. Bonner and Brand, top 5. And then Eli McCrary holds on to 6. Colin Lay, 7th. Jace Hart, 8th. Camden Phillips, 9th. And Hayden Benninger rounds out the top 10. Actually, I take that back. Eli McCrary, our 6th place, going to be an Ohio boy, as well as our 10th place of Benninger. Good to see them out here charging in the home state. Wyatt Dolan holds on to 11th. Bryson Stringfellow going to be 12th overall. Bo Bothwell 13th. Clayton Sampson 14th. And Brooks Hill rounding out top 15 overall. Speaking of Hayden Benninger, the Ohio boy, he is your leader in the 250 limited class. The only rider not out of our YXC1 division to be in that top 10. Going to take a look here at some of our other classes. Of course, that was our overall. Going to go through our respected classes here. YXC2, it is Bryson Stringfellow that is in the top spot. Both Bothwell is in second. Thompson in the third place spot. Then Brooks Hill holds on to fourth. JP Pickens Jr. going to be your fifth with Bo Collins, Trey Luckadoo, Cody Buchanan, Bo Hamrick, and Stratton, your top 10 in YXC2. And take a look at that. Cody Buchanan all the way back into that 8th place spot. That was the rider that picked up the win at our last 2 rounds of the season. We'll see. Can Cody Buchanan pull something off today and get himself farther up in the ranks, or will this winning streak that he has been able to get come to a close here today? 250, 13 to 15 class. Brody Huck going to lead the way with Logan Freeland in second, Aiden Montgomery third, Colton Selby in the 4th place spot, and then Colton Yankovic rounds out our top 5 for the 250, 13 to 15. Bryson Ware in 6th, Gunnar Claypool in 7th, Brantley Thompson 8th, Maverick Pennell 9th, and Reese Hoover rounds out the top 10 with Aiden Credette and Owen Sabato rounding out the class. Taking a look now at our 250 limited division. Aiden Benninger going to lead the way, like we said, the Ohio boy, followed by another Ohio boy from Lynchburg, Ohio. Brantley Slack holds on to our 2nd place. Then we see the Maryland native, Mason Lezard, in the 3rd place spot. Landon Pennington in 4th. Logan Willamette in 5th. Braxton Best, Jack Jacobs, and Briley Nickel going to round out our top 8 here in this 250 limited division. And take a look at that. We've got a lineup from all over the country here in this one. Ohio, Maryland, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Riley Nickel also going to be an Ohio native. Waiting on our 125 classes, but we do have our top riders out of the 98 to 12-year-old division. And Grayson Brand going to be in control of it. The rider from Washington, Pennsylvania on the 704 KTM. Going to be followed by Chad McCormick, who holds on to the 2nd place spot, the Morgantown, West Virginia native on the 224. Yamaha machine trying to get the job done right now. Going to move down to our schoolgirl 12 to 15-year-old division, where we see Chloe Oliver in the top spot, the Russellville, Indiana native, getting the job done right now on the 118 Yamaha machine. Emma Edwards runs in the 2nd place spot with Taylon Davis in 3rd, Kimber Lowry 4th, and Lydia Arnold 5th. Tinley Hart going to be in the 6th place spot with Cadence Jackson in 7th, and Riley Dobbins in the 8th place position. Waiting now on our girls senior and our girls junior division, as well as the 76 to 11-year-old class. So how about it? 1 lap officially in the books. Gonna wait for our lead group here of Smallwood, Buchanan, Hancock, Bonner, Brand to check back in to see what those lap times are gonna be here for the rest of this one. There we go, a ton more riders checking in. Hannah Cofield, Dominic McGee, Josie Dyke, Cruz Lebeco, Riley Morrow, all making their way through. Some of our school 5 class riders. Let's check in with that 125 8 to 12 class. It is the 4.34 of Easton Smith, the Indiana native, that leads the way. Dominic McGee on the 8.21 sits in 2nd, and then the 4.11 of Josie Dyke going to be in the 3rd place spot. Cruz Lebeco and Riley Morrow round out our top 5 with Colton Johnson 6th, Brody Dolan 7th, and Colson Conklin in the 8th place spot. Still waiting on that 125 limited division. Shouldn't be much longer, and the leader of that one should be coming through. Once again, thanks for tuning in on Racer TV to everybody there watching. Something new that we've been doing here in 2026, and I absolutely love it. Glad to have you guys joining us. And for everybody here on property, come and join us over at Beck's Concession. They got things fired up. Got some pizza hot and ready, and that is what I'm looking for myself. Don't forget our sponsor village going to be fired up as well. Got Moto Tees in the house, the official retailer here of the GNCC series. And whether you're watching from Racer TV or whether you're right here on property, make sure to check out Moto Tees. Of course, you can order it online. You can get it right here in person. And Moto Tees, they've got so much stuff, they had to get 2 trucks, going to have the hard parts trailer as well, where you can pick up some of those tear-offs, you name it. If you're needing something for that machine or for yourself to get ready to go racing, make sure to go and stop by over at Moto Tees. A ton of sponsors and vendors out here with us this weekend, including Yamaha and the Blue Crew. Johnny G going to be set up over there with the Blue Crew. And if you are on a Yamaha machine and you are not a part of the Blue Crew, you are missing out. Once again, if you are on a Yamaha machine, you need to go and get signed up with Johnny G and the crew over at Yamaha for the Blue Crew. A ton of swag comes with that, and a ton of benefits, a ton of perks for being a part of the Blue Crew. Go stop by, get signed up today. So shouldn't be much longer. The crew going to be making their way back over here for 2 laps in the books. And how about it? I was talking to you guys about that are here on property with us about Beck's concession stands. They're going to have some dirty sodas in the house today, and Beck and the crew just brought me one over. I've got to give it a try. Oh, man. That's where it is, Beck. I'm going to have to say, I might be a dirty soda man over the boba myself. Hey, whether you're watching on Racer TV or you're right here in property with us, make sure that you download the GNCC Racing app. You can find that on your apps store, wherever you get your apps from. And, of course, going to have our live timing there, as well as schedule, results, news, you name it. It's going to be all right there on the app. And you'll be able to see Jacob Smallwood with 1 lap complete, leading the way on the overall charts, as well as in class for the Super Mini Senior YXC1 division. Some more cool stuff you can find there in the GNCC Racing app that I'm a big fan of. You can find the schedule and you can find directions not only for the GNCC, how to get to the event. You can also find track maps. You can find directions at the event to find your way around the pit area and the sponsor village. Everything is right there on the GNCC Racing app. You know, one of my favorite parts, you can click on the address, click the directions, and then it'll pull it up right on to your maps. If you're using an iPhone like me, it'll pull it up to your Apple Maps. Parts of it is it'll show you are on the way to the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. And speaking of the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC, your leaders are off and rolling into lap number 3, and it is still Jacob Smallwood at the top of the field. And how about it, bumper to bumper as they made their way around for our top 2, Jackson Hancock and Jacob Smallwood. This is going to be a battle for the ages as Jackson Hancock able to pick up that second place spot. And like we said, only 0.8 seconds separating the two. Bodie Buchanan, he's running in that third place spot. He's going to be 30 seconds off of your second place at Hancock. At 31.2 seconds to be exact, so that means he is only about 32 seconds off of Jacob Smallwood as well. So, man, that just shows how fast those top 2 are going. Hancock able to get himself into the second place spot, and now trying to check down Jacob Smallwood. We'll see. Can the Florida native pull something off? There we go. Reese Bonner, Grayson Brand, and now Camden Phillips. All checking in here at the line. Eli McCreary as well. So all of those riders coming out of that YXC1 Super Mini Senior Division. Now that the crew makes their way around for lap number 2, let's go check in with the rest of our classes and catch up with some of those ones that we have not yet, like our 125 Limited Division, where Johnny Martin Jr. is going to be leading the way after grabbing a whole shot. He is still going to be in that top spot here with 1 lap in the books. Gavin Claypool, after taking a win there in the micro divisions, finds himself in second here in this 125 Limited in the Youth ATV race. Briggs Bolin going to be running in third. Caden Hughes fourth. Bam Margaria going to be your 5th place. Lane Hendershot, Winston Weddle, Waylon Jennings, Caden Davis, and Emmerich McCauley going to round out the 125 Limited class. 98-12 once again is Grayson Brand, Chad McCormick, and Hunter Lizelle. Top 3 with Trace Oliver and Kaysen Jennings, your top 5. We do now have our girls senior and girls junior divisions checked in. For our girls senior class, it is Aubrey Nicholson, the Morgantown, West Virginia native, leading the way over Moon Savage in second and Emerson Swantek in third. Raven Nickel and Tori Barrett going to be sitting 4th and 5th here for the girls senior. Girls junior. Chloe Slew is going to be leading the way here in the girls junior division on the 402 Yamaha machine. An Ohio native trying to get it done in her home state. Kinley Bowman runs in the 2nd place spot with Bailey Wright holding on to 3rd. Carter Phillips going to be your 4th place with Audrey Petrella rounding out our top 5. Desi Barrett going to round out the class as she sits in that 6th place spot. And now checking in with our 70 6 to 11-year-old class, where we see Colston Wilson, the South Salem, Ohio native, leading the way on the 320 machine. Sage Shields going to be sitting in the 2nd place spot. Shields coming off a 2nd place there in the overall for our micro divisions. And now running in a 2nd place spot for our 76 to 11. So Sage Shields actually not a 2nd place on the overall and a 1st place in the MXC2 class there for our micro divisions. And continuing to keep the ball rolling here in our youth ATV race as well. Leighton Leach going to be running in the third place spot for our 70 class, with Holden Wolford fourth, Gavin Sowers in fifth, and at Guyan Rodriguez in sixth. So a ton of riders checking in. Aiden Montgomery, Bo Hamrick, Stratton Weddle, Cody Buchanan, and then the last rider we just saw was Hayden Benniger, all coming through carrying a ton of speed, hard on the throttle. So like I said earlier, here in St. Clairsville, Ohio, they like to call it Paradise Hilltop, and I believe this is our own little slice of paradise here at the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. Believe it or not, we are actually sitting at the second highest point here of the county. The tallest point of the county would be that famous courthouse. And I want to give a shout out to Mr. Don Hampton for providing us a ton of information here this weekend. So yeah, the Belmont County Courthouse is actually the highest point in town, and then second highest point is going to be right here where we're at for the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. It doesn't get much better than this. We've already been off to a great start to the day, working on our third race of the day, and it is only 10:19. How about that? And we're just getting things started. We've got a ton of action that is going to be coming your way, from our AM ATV race that's going to be coming up next to our PM Pro race that is going to be coming up at 2 o'clock. Of course, going to be live back on Racer TV for that 2 o'clock race as well. So make sure to join us if you're watching now on Racer TV. Make sure to tune back in at 2 o'clock for that pro race where the superstars of the GNCC are all going to come out to play. And right now, it's all about the superstars of this youth division as they work on another lap in the books. Now working on lap number 3 for our lead group, Jacob Smallwood, Jackson Hancock, and Bodie Buchanan. And it is anybody's guess who we're going to see at the top of the field next time around. Can Jacob Smallwood fend off Jackson Hancock, or will Hancock be able to keep this momentum rolling and get himself up to the top spot? I'm sure plenty of changes have already been made. That's one thing at GNCC we talk about a lot between me and Zach. You see these riders checking in, you assume things have stayed the same, and then you get up on the podium and hear the interviews and they say, no, even though I might have checked in the top spot for 3 laps in a row, I changed positions 10 times a lap. So there's all kinds of stuff that you just don't get to see here at GNCC racing that happens out on the course. And of course it does. When you're having these huge long racetracks like we do, pro races being 12 miles plus, there's always going to be a little bit of action you miss. But nonetheless, glad to have it on Racer TV and glad to be able to provide you guys with some coverage here of this youth ATV race. So some of those riders we saw making their way around here recently was out of our schoolgirl division, and it is going to be Chloe Oliver, the Indiana native, that is continuing to lead the way here now, only 1 second ahead of Taylon Davis. And Davis not even a second ahead of Tinley Hart. 0.6 seconds is going to be the gap between our second and third place rider here for the schoolgirl division. Lydia Arnold, only 2.5 seconds back into the fourth place spot. Raylan Dickerson holds on to fifth. Kimber Lowry sixth, and then Emma Edwards, the last of our schoolgirl riders we saw here at the finish line. Oh, take that back. Cadence Jackson just now making her way through. Cole Marley coming through as well. Grayson Brand checks in out of our 90 division. Here we go. Easton Smith, the last rider we saw by it, now here at the finish line. Seeing the 715 machine. How about 409 on the helmet? Riley Gardner of our girls junior division. So, of course, this is the Progressive GNCC series, and want to remind you guys, get protected however you roam with RV and motorcycle coverage from Progressive Insurance. Progressive protects over 7.1 million RVs, motorcycle, boats, and more across the USA. Progressive is America's #1 motorcycle insurer for a reason. In case of an accident, their comprehensive and collision coverage can return your bike to pre-accident condition or better. Plus, their repairs are always done with original equipment manufacturers, aka OEM parts. Explore Progressive's offerings and get a quote today by visiting them online at gnccracing.com/progressive. And make sure if you go and get quotes that you do it through that GNCC Racing website. That way they can know your friends at GNCC sent you. Bella Oldacre making her way through out of our schoolgirl division. Checks in for another lap complete, as does Hannah Cofield. Johnny Martin Jr. out of that 125 limited class, going to make it another lap in the books for him. And let's check in with that 125 limited. And just as I thought, Johnny Martin Jr. still going to be leading the way. Aubrey Nicholson checks in out of our girls senior division, as she continues to lead the way, now making it 2 laps in the books for our girls senior. Quinn Thomas, Gavin Claypool, Brayson Havens all making their way through. Now seeing Owen Sabato and Avery Smith making their way through. And some more to follow. Emmerich Borgskew, Alec Miller, Colson Wilson all checking in. And there we go, everybody. That is your leader now making his way through. And a new leader as he checks in. It'll be the number 6 machine of Jackson Hancock that overtakes the top spot. Now let's see. There comes the 527 machine. So Smallwood holds on to second And now we wait for our third to see if it's still going to be Bodie Buchanan. So Bodie Buchanan has checked in here, and he will still hold on to that third place spot. So it is Hancock, Smallwood, and Buchanan now. Your top three with 3 laps in the books. This is the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. And Kenda Tires, American Engineered Traction, going to be in the house with us here all weekend long. Go stop by and say hi to the boys over at Kenda. And if you're watching on racertv.com, make sure to go check them out online and see how you can get yourself some Kenda tires on your machine and get yourself some American Engineered Traction. So the white flag is flying in the hands of Mr. Ricky Towery, which means one more lap to go, and those boys are going to be battling it out all the way down to the line. Reese Bonner, Gavin Brand, and Camden Phillips coming through wheel to wheel to wheel as they battle it out for the 4th, 5th, and 6th place spot. Reese Bonner on that 777 holds on to 4th. Gavin Brand 5th, Camden Phillips in that 6th place spot. Now Eli McCrary checks in, an Ohio native there of McCrary, going to be running in that 7th place position on the 248 machine. And here we go, the 725 now checks in. And that is Jace Hart on the throttle hard. Kelsey Stringfellow going to be just behind. Kelsey on C1 Super Mini Senior Division. A rider not long ago, just last year, I believe, saw in the schoolgirl division, now moves all the way up to the YXC1 class. And a huge lineup here for the YXC1 today. Give you a top 15 rundown as they sit. It's Jackson Hancock leading the way, not only in class, but on the overall charts as well. Jacob Smallwood 2nd. Bodie Buchanan is 3rd. Reese Bonner 4th. Gavin Brand 5th. Camden Phillips holds on to the 6th place spot with Eli McCrary in 7th. Jace Hart in the 8th place spot. Kelsey Stringfellow holding her on with a top 9. And then in 10th is Wyatt Dolan with Levi Hollifield in 11th. Fallon Holcomb in that 12th place spot. Fallon, another rider that we saw advance from the schoolgirl class up to this YXC1 Super Mini Senior Division. Hunter Davis going to hold on to 13th here in YXC1 with Colin Lay 14th and Evan Chastain 15th. Dawson Neal and Ethan Edgar round the class out. But how about it? Jacob Smallwood makes his way from Goshen, Ohio, running in that 2nd place spot now in YXC1. Could we see the Ohio native pull something off and get the job done here in his home state? Going to be a tough task, as Hancock has been able to put 21 seconds between himself and Smallwood. Then 35 seconds back from Smallwood is Buchanan, and then 1:37 back from Buchanan is going to be Bonner. And then that battle, only half a second separating those guys. So they're wheel to wheel, Bonner, Brand, and Phillips. But like we said, seeing some big gaps there for our top four. Like we said, Ohio native there for Smallwood. Can he get the job done in his home state? Nonetheless, it has been a long trip for Jackson Hancock to make his way from Avon Park, Florida. And you know Hancock, with a long ride back home, gonna want some hardware. I know that on that number one spot. We'll see. Can Jackson Hancock pull it off here today? Who knows? Bodie Buchanan, he is still sitting in that third place spot, 35 seconds back, but anything is possible here in GNCC racing. And taking a look here at our overall charts, it's Hancock, Smallwood, and Buchanan. Your top three, Bonner, Brand, Phillips. Your top six, Eli McCrary, seventh. So your top seven all out of YXC1. But then in eighth, we see Bo Bothwell, the Covington, Georgia native, leading the way for the YXC2. And like we said, sitting in eighth on the overall charts. The next YXC2 rider we see going to be Brooks Hill, as he holds on to an 11th overall position, running second there in that YXC2 class. Third for YXC2 is going to be Bryson Stringfellow on the 508. Fourth going to go to J.P. Pickens Jr. Clayton Sampson going to hold on to fifth. Bo Collins sixth. Trey Luckadoo seventh. Bo Hamrick in eighth. Stratton Weddle in ninth. And Cody Buchanan rounds out the top 10. As I was saying earlier, you know, Cody Buchanan wanted to keep that winning streak alive, but nonetheless, able to get a top 10. He'll be leaving here with some points today, and you know, that is what he's going to have his sights set on here for the 2026 season, is continuing to collect as many points as possible. Here in our youth division, it's going to be a little bit different than the pro division. It's going to have some drops in there where they can drop some of their worst finishes. So white flag continuing to fly here at the hands of Mr. Ricky Towery as we get ready to throw a checkered flag here. And let's see, just about 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes until our leaders are due once again here at the finish line. Ooh, man, so it has been a great race here for our youth ATVs. No doubt about it, some of the best in the ATV world right here with us in this youth ATV race. And we're going to see who is going to be the best here in Ohio today. Right now, the Florida native of Jackson Hancock is looking like he has got it wrapped up. But just as soon as you think you know how things are going to go here in Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing, things will make a change. So let's see how it's going to finish up. Just about 4 minutes till they make their way back through. While we wait, we'll check in with some of our other classes. Our 250 13 to 15 class, Aiden Montgomery from Glenford, Ohio, leads the way. Hayden Bettiger from Cumberland, Ohio in second. And then Brody Huck from Lowell, Ohio rounds out our top three. So the Ohio boys getting it done here in their home state for the 250 class. Logan Freeland from West Virginia holds on to fourth, and Colton Selby from Indiana in the 5th place spot. Gunnar Claypool in 6th, Reese Hoover 7th, Braxton Hesler 8th, Bryson Ware in 9th, and Maverick Pennell in that 10th place spot. 250 limited. The 31 machine of Brantley Slack from Lynchburg, Ohio, trying to get it done in his home state. Mason Lezard in the number 2 spot. Logan Willamette holds on to 3rd. Landon Pennington 4th. Jack Jacobs 5th. And then Braxton Brest, Riley Nickel, Cole Marley, Arabella Bullen, and Brayson Havens rounds out the top 10. As for our 125 divisions, Easton Schmidt, the Indiana man, going to be getting the job done up at the top of the field on the 434 Yamaha machine. Riley Morrow in 2nd, Colton Johnson's in 3rd, Dominic McGee 4th, and then Josie Dyke rounds out that top 5. Griffin Gettings in 6th, Cruz Lebeco, Brody Dolan, Colson Conklin, and Evan Dotato rounding out that top 10. Grant Hash and Ellis Richardson rounds out the class for the 125s. 125 limited. Johnny Martin Jr. gonna lead the way, the Kentucky native, getting it done right now. Gavin Claypool sits in 2nd, Bam Margaria sits in 3rd, and then it's Caden Muse and Lane Hendershot rounding out the top 5. Winston Weddle in 6th, Briggs Poland 7th, Waylon Jennings 8th, Caden Davis 9th, and Emmerich McCauley rounds out the top 10. 90 class, it is Grayson Brand on the 704 from Pennsylvania that leads the way over Trace Oliver and Chad McCormick for the top 3. Hunter Lizelle in 4th, Kason Jennings 5th, and then Ban Thomas and Lane Kennedy going to round the class out in our top 7 spots. Schoolgirl, it is still Chloe Oliver from Russellville, Indiana, aboard the 118 Yamaha machine that leads the way. Taylon Davis going to be in the number 2 spot. Lydia Arnold holds on to 3rd. Raylan Dickerson, your 4th, and then Tinley Hart holds on to a top 5 spot right now with Emma Edwards in 6th, Kimber Lowry 7th, Kay Jackson 8th, Riley Dobbins 9th, and Bella Oldacker in that 10th place spot. Hannah Cofield, Skylar Kimball, and Brooklyn Kimball going to round the class out for our schoolgirls. Moving to our girls senior division, Aubrey Nicholson leading the way, the West Virginia native, over Emerson Swantek from Odessa, Florida, and Raven Nickel holds on to 3rd right here in her home state of Ohio. Another home state girl, Cadence Wiggins, holding on to 4th, and then Tori Barrett all the way from New York in 5th. Moon Savage, a Pennsylvania native, holds on to 6th. Girls junior, Kinley Bowman leads the way on the 549 Honda machine from Indiana. Then Bailey Wright holds on to 2nd, Carter Phillips 3rd, Audrey Petrilla 4th, Chloe Slews in that 5th place spot with Desi Barrett 6th, Molly Smith 7th, and Riley Gardner in the 8th place position. Colston Wilson going to be leading the way for our 70 class on the 320 machine with Sage Shields in 2nd, Leighton Leach in 3rd, Gavin Sowers 4th, Holden Wolford 5th, and then Rodriguez going to round out the class in 6th. So that's a full rundown of your classes as Ricky Towery looks through the wood line. We get ready to throw a checkered flag here for the youth ATVs. Ricky Towery says, here we go, here we go. And look at this, a battle all the way down to the line, wheel to wheel. But it will be Jackson Hancock missing his visor and all that gets the big win here at the 2026 Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. Woo, what a race for our youth ATVs. As they checked in, it was only 1 second that separated Hancock and Smallwood. Just as I said it, over 20 seconds was the gap when the white flag flew. And Hancock definitely having some troubles that last time around, missing his visor. Can only imagine what happened there in that one. Gonna get to hear it all up on the podium in just a minute. Waiting for our third place rider to make their way through. And we expect it to be the #1 machine of Bodie Buchanan. We'll see, can Buchanan make it around one more time to hold on to that podium spot? And there he is, the #1 machine checks in. And Buchanan will be your third place here on the overall charts as well as the YXC1 division. Man, that was a good one here today for our youth ATVs. Once again, want to thank everybody for tuning in to Racer TV and joining along with us here for this one. So with our top 3 checked in, that should do us here for this youth ATV race. We're going to get ready for some podium celebrations, and we're going to throw it down to the starting line where DJ Judd and Zach Herron wait to get our AM race started.